Great. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to look down and read this. I have a brain injury, so it gives me problems. So I apologize. My name is Stephen Michael Digna Jr. Doctor, I'm sorry. These are slipping my hands here. That's okay. My name is Stephen Michael Digna Jr. The following testimony is true and inaccurate as it can be at this time, to the best of my ability, and I am prepared to swear this testimony under oath before the Senate and Congress. I'm a former sergeant in the United States Army. I began active duty service in 1999, and I served until 2002. I was assigned to the U.S. Army Training Center, W4J9 Alpha Alpha, Fort Irwin, California, located in the Mojave Desert inside Death Valley near the Barstow, California in 2000. I was assigned to Alpha Company Group, Live Fire Combat Engineer Division, Computer Support Systems, and basically for civilians it's management for live fire operations. I acted as a hub between the operations group, intelligence planners, ground team, Air Force, and Star Wars programs. Thank you, Doctor. In July of 2001, I was observing a live fire practice at a level from an observation deck at approximately 3 stories high from the desert floor. I saw a craft in the distance at approximately 200 feet off the ground, measuring approximately 172 feet across, strongly resembling a hovering B-2 Spirit. Upon first glance, my eyes were adjusting to the darkness. I could see 7 lights in a V-shape. After that, I closed my eyes for approximately 30 seconds to allow them to adjust to lighting conditions. We were running red lights throughout the bunker due to the current live fire exercise. The range was hot. That means rounds are being fired and lives are at risk at all times. This was interrupted by a very, very ominous call, a net call. It said, "Ceasefire, ceasefire, ceasefire." It came from one of our observer controllers on the ground. There was about 27 teams out there. And they kept soldiers alive and trained them. Sorry, thank you, Doctor. Once my eyes adjusted, I could make out the general shape of the craft. There were 2 men from Raytheon present. I pulled out my night vision goggles to get a better look at the craft. It appeared to be generating 7 lights along its wings and underbelly. I noticed another smaller craft oriented on the right side and at the same height as the first craft, approximately 75 feet to 100 yards to its right. The second craft was jet black, V-shaped, pointed towards the first craft. This craft had equally joined, spaced, rectangular sections forming the hull. The craft had a gimbal rack that deployed from the bottom of the craft. Approximately 5 to 6 holographic lights, holographic emitting lights were pointed directly at the first craft. That was my assumption, due to the fact that they were displaying a strange color within my MVG goggles. Anyone that knows the old school, circa 2000 MVGs, they don't emit color. They give you green, grays, and blacks. I was seeing colors within my night vision goggles. This was not normal. And it was my assumption that perhaps this was a hologram being projected from the other craft. I can't confirm that. However, that was my assessment at the time and my suspicion at the time. I wanted to throw a baseball at it, but I didn't have one, just to see if it was tangible and solid. The second craft was jet black, V-shaped. I'm sorry, jumped a little space here. Thank you for the bullets, Raven. The craft and the gimbal rack were deployed from the bottom of the craft and approximately 5 or 6 lights. Sorry, Dr. Greer. Guys, I goofed up, and that's a part of the brain injury suffered during the explosion on the live fire range. One of the 2 men on the observation deck from Raytheon noticed the night vision goggles I had. He went from chattering cheerfully. They were pretty relaxed. They'd seen these before. It wasn't abnormal to them. He looked at me with a very, very severe look of disapproval and anger that I had. At that point, they both went calmly inside, probably a little bit angry, and it felt as though I had crossed the line. I took another look with my night vision goggles. The reason this event was not reported was due to the fact that it was not unidentified. I'm going to repeat this very clearly to the cameras. This craft was not unidentified. This was one of our birds, and To the observer controller that called that out on the range, I'm not going to put his call sign out. Roger up, eyes on, hands on confirmation. That's our bird, but she doesn't need wind to get lift. She was hovering stationary. This was, I'm going to interject here. Sorry, guys. This was very dangerous. This craft showed up unscheduled. I got no notification. My job was to maintain command and control and to be the hub and top observer controller for the Tactical Operation Command Center for live fire desert warfare. That's the largest live fire warfare center for desert warfare on the planet and in history. So any moving objects that are on that desert floor or in those skies are supposed to be coordinated between myself and another group that I directly worked with the civilian personnel through Raytheon and the United States Air Force. So to get back to the statements here, the reason the event was skip. All right, well, this is going to jump in a little. I was the fastest promoted soldier in 25 years on the post. And I was the youngest #1 control seat holder at Fort Irwin NTC facility in history that held the title, the Voice of the Desert. When I cued my mic at my FM base station, it shut down all radios, and I could shut down the range for safety reasons or for medevac calls, safety reports, weather reports, and any other thing that was commanded by me, by my superiors. I skipped over that, but I filled it in good. Approximately 5 to 7 days later, sorry guys, this is personal. This affected the rest of my marriage, my life, and my relationship with my child. Approximately 5 to 7 days later, the following incident took place on Fort Irwin Road. It's the one road leading into the base. During the weekend pass, after the show, my wife and I had taken a pass to go see a movie. And this took place right after the live fire bunker, about 5 to 7 days afterwards. We skipped the second movie, or halfway through. I was really tired, just got back from running the range, 78-hour shifts with no relief. We passed a dry lake bed on the right-hand side. I've got that exact information already turned into the proper authorities. Thank you, Dr. Greer and all of his team. People out there, please get ready to come out. It's a saying they got, an old friend of mine, well, a new friend, but he reminded me of an old saying they have at Fort Benning, Georgia. It says, "Follow me." There's another saying we have at the Signal Corps Academy. It's on the badge. It says Pro Patria Vigilantes, or Vigilis. That means watchful of the nation. And then there's another group of men that I served with, and I tried to keep them alive every day to the best of my ability. Same guys that blew me up. And I still love them today, and I ask for amnesty for all of the information I'm going to say from here on in. These boys are on the ground, on the hottest spots in the planet, along with these other soldiers, and they're dying out there. They're out there killing people under false pretenses. I've also turned information in that may be able to prove that to the proper authorities, thanks to Dr. Greer and his team. His team so far has been accommodating, polite, honest, respectful, and this man is my new general. He leads the way. So rally up, rally on me. This man is the way. He speaks the truth. He is sound. Apologize, Dr. Greer. I've been waiting to say that for a long time. I thought they would laugh at me and look at me like I'm a lunatic. However, I brought my data. I brought the information. They stripped my information, said I had a driver's badge and a service ribbon. I had 2 accommodation medals, and I had total 7 certificates. They put me in for an ARCOM, which is the highest award you can get for a non-deployable base. I'm a non-combatant, but I'm as close as you can get to being one. Those boys out there, we receive KIT reports every day. That means killed in training. Had I been in a real Tactical Operation Command Center or bunker on the range, like the one that just got hit in Ukraine, then I'd be sending men out to die every day. Those guys hated the Voice of the Desert because we gave them commands to send their troops into danger and to death, even if we knew that they were just the decoys for the real mission. So I'm going to have to jump back to this. I apologize, Raven and everyone, for going off track, but that had to be said. Back to the story in hand.